At first glance, Liberal, Missouri could be any other small town in the Midwest. But in the beginning, this strange town, founded by George Walser, was nothing like the other communities of the four states.
George was an interesting fellow. He started Liberal founded it in 1880, and he founded it as a town for freethinkers.
Walser purchased 2,000 acres of land on the western side of Barton County after serving in the Civil War. Using that land, he founded Liberal and started asking people to move in.
He advertises as a town that would have no church, no preacher, no saloon, no heaven, no hell.
Almost immediately, that would be challenged.
Within about a year and a half to 2 years, they had not only a saloon but a church as well.
And Walser's response was anything but welcoming.
His initial response was to erect a barbed wire fence between the edge of Liberal and an addition that had been platted that had the church in it to keep what he called those types out.
Today, Liberal is home to 7 churches. But the story of Liberal doesn't end there. In fact, at one point, the town even had its own college.
It's called the University of Mental Liberty, and George founded that, was there in the 1890s.
In an ironic twist, the Methodist Church now stands on the land the school once occupied. On the northeast side of town, you'll find this cemetery, which has its own part to play in the town's story.
When George founded the town, of course, he platted a cemetery, and he laid it out where he was going to be buried in the middle, and he would have everybody else that bought a plot arranged in concentric circles around that. That way, when the resurrection happened, everybody would raise up and see him first.
Walser, though, would find his final resting place elsewhere.
Unfortunately for George, his last wife buried him in the Lamar Cemetery.
According to local legend, Walser's mausoleum was filled with valuable books and journals upon his death. But whether or not they're still there today is just another layer of the mystery.
I've also heard that the Muddy Creek that runs just there to the east of the Lamar Cemetery had flooded at one point and got up into several of those mausoleums several years ago.
King says if that's the case, then anything buried with Walser is likely gone. Oh, and Walser, the man who founded a town free from heaven and hell, appears to have had a change of heart before his death in 1910.
At the end of his life, according to what was written about him, that he was a Christian at that time.
In Liberal, Jeremiah Cook, KSN, Local News.